Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2023 Great Northwest Athletic Conference Women's Soccer Championships. It's Semifinal Thursday and a great doubleheader coming your way starting momentarily. Hi, everybody. Evan O'Kelly with you, and we're glad to have you along for the ride tonight as we take the top four teams from the Great Northwest Athletic Conference regular season standings and watch them all go head-to-head on the race for the GNAC Championships trophy. In just about 10 minutes, it's number 3 seed Western Oregon taking on number 2 seed Western Washington, our first semifinal match of the night. And then later on at 7 p.m., it'll be number 4 seed Simon Fraser, the Red Leafs, taking on the 2023 GNAC champions, Seattle Pacific, the Falcons. That game coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. Well, these two teams going head-to-head in 2023, nothing to separate them. Western Oregon won 1-0 on September 30th on their home pitch in Monmouth, Oregon, and Western Washington getting vengeance on October 26th, just a couple of weeks ago in Bellingham, winning 1-0. So both teams emerge by the score of 1-0 in the regular season, and the deadlock will be sorted out tonight. If not in regular time and overtime, then in penalties. Remember, it's the postseason and overtime in effect and a penalty kick shootout in effect. It is playoff time, and we need something to separate these teams. So no more draws. There were a lot of those during the regular season, but no more here in the postseason. All-time, Western Washington leads the series 41-8-2, so it's been a dominant all-time performance by the Vikings among these two teams, as they've been dominant against just about every Division II opponent they've had. This is the third time these two teams have met in the GNAC Championships, Western Washington emerging victorious in both previous meetings, which date back to 2012, the inaugural tournament. Western Washington beat the Wolves 2-0 on November 1st, 2012 in the first tournament, and then defeated Western Oregon in overtime 2-1 on November 7th, 2013. Both of those meetings were in the semifinals. So this is round 3, and the first time these teams have ever met in the city of Ellensburg. Western Oregon going 8-4-6 during the regular season. They went 5-4-5 in conference play, picking up 20 points and placing third. At home, the Wolves were 5-2-2, away 3-2-4. And in the last 3 matches, Western Oregon has gone unbeaten. That included a 2-2 tie right here on this field 1 week ago at Central Washington on November 2nd, and then a gutsy scoreless draw at Northwest Nazarene in the regular season finale on November 4th. That sealed up the Wolves' berth here in the championship tournament under fifth-year head coach Casey Bingham. It's her 4th full season in charge, as the 2020 campaign, of course, did not occur because of the pandemic, but Bingham in her 5th year with Western Oregon. 30, 28, and 15 overall, 20, 20, and 14 in conference games. In her first year, 2019, Bingham was named the GNAC Coach of the Year, and she's got her Wolves back in this conference tournament for the first time since 2019. Well, Western Oregon's got their woman. She has quite the track record, and it's somebody that they, I think, want to have run this program for a long time. 2-time national champion when she was the head coach at Paradise Valley Community College 2010 and 2012. And just a really great track record of coaching, and she's got the Wolves back on the front foot here in 2023. Well, Western Oregon will need to be at its best tonight against the Vikings of Western Washington. They fell 2-0 to Seattle Pacific a week ago today in what was, for all intents and purposes, really the match to determine the regular season champion. The Falcons earned that, so the Vikings settled for a runner-up finish in the GNAC this season, 11-4-4 entering tonight. They went 9-2-3 in league play. Western Washington 7-1-1 at home. In Bellingham away 4-3-3, and this is the first neutral site meeting for both of these teams this season. Vikings 8-1-1 in their last 10 matches. The only hiccup was that 2-0 loss to Seattle Pacific. Otherwise, they've been unbeaten. And in the last week, it was the loss to SPU and then a bounce-back 1-0 win at Montana State Billings to close out the regular season. Travis Cannell entering his 20th season as head coach, and it's hard to do it any better than Cannell has in his 20 years. Of course, 2 national championship titles, including the 2022 trophy. The Vikings are the reigning national champions, and Cannell also piloting the team to that distinction in 2016. He's a 7-time GNAC Coach of the Year and reached his 300th career win with the Vikings on the women's side earlier this season. Cannell, with the 2 coaching national championships as Bingham had at the junior college level, he also had one as a player at Seattle Pacific in 1993. So it should be a great matchup. The Vikings are 6 times the champion of this tournament. They've made it every single year. 12 NCAA appearances, 5 NCAA Final Fours for the Vikings. So came up a little bit short in the regular season against the Falcons, but the reigning national champions, this is when they're at their best in the postseason. So the players being introduced now on the field. We are just a few minutes away from kickoff. We'll take a look at our starting lineups. First, for Western Oregon, it'll be number 00, Sophia Pierce in goal, the junior out of Missoula, Montana. Jenna Ephraimson, who plays outside back. She's a senior from Camas, Washington. She wears number 2. Rayanne Jones, the stellar newcomer up top, the senior from Chino Hills, California, and the transfer from Rio Hondo. Liz Parker, another outside back. She's a senior from Camas, Washington. A number of these Wolves are from Camas, Washington. Parker wears number 7. Alina Slater plays in the midfield. She's a sophomore from Kaneohe, Hawaii, wearing number 8. Lily Nowatzki, another veteran, a junior midfielder from Shoreview, Minnesota, wears number 9. The first team All-GNAC center back Hannah Rispler wears number 11. She was the 2022 GNAC Defensive Player of the Year. The senior from Sam Barlow High School in Gresham, Oregon, the home state 5th year. She's the only player on this Wolves team who was on the roster the last time they competed in this tournament. Gabby Warda plays in the midfield, wears number 15. She's a junior from Vancouver, Washington, an Idaho State transfer. Lulu Sadler, another first-team All-GNAC midfielder. She's a junior from Camas, Washington. Emma Higashi, who is a nominee for the GNAC Freshman of the Year from Mililani, Hawaii, wears number 23, and rounding out the starting 11 for Casey Bingham's side, number 26, Olivia Johnsrud. She's a sophomore defender from Sammamish, Washington. For Western Washington, the starting lineup looks like this. Asia Harden, the first-team All-GNAC defender, a stalwart. She's making her 20th start of the year. She's been in there every single game for the Vikings. She's a sophomore defender from West Linn, Oregon. Morgan Manalili, the reigning GNAC Freshman of the Year, or I should say last year's GNAC Freshman of the Year. She earned first-team All-Conference this year, and she was the 2022 GNAC Championships Most Valuable Player. Sophomore forward from Shoreline, Washington. We'll be sure to be calling her name many times tonight. Jaden Nguyen, the senior defender from Bellingham, the hometown kid who earned honorable mention All-GNAC this year, is in there, as is Peyton Neal, the senior midfielder from Linwood, Washington. She was a second-team All-GNAC pick. Claire Potter gets the start up top, the sophomore from Pasco, Washington, making her 19th start of the year. Emily Rice on the back line, a steady sophomore from Portland, Oregon. She wears number 12. Jane Hamira, the forward from Portland as well. She's in her freshman season and wears number 13. Grayson Crosby, who is a second-team All-GNAC pick, a finalist for GNAC Newcomer of the Year. She came to the Vikings from Georgia State. She plays in the midfield, wears number 16, and hails from Spokane Valley, Washington. Mia Cairns gets the start. She was a finalist for GNAC Freshman of the Year this year, the midfielder out of Sammamish, Washington. Olivia Connell is a freshman defender from Woodinville, Washington, making her 13th start of the year. And, of course, the last line of defense, the GNAC Defensive Player of the Year in goal, Claire Henninger, the senior from Sequim, Washington. So the players on the pitch just about ready for action, and this should be a good one. The Wolves and the Vikings for the third time this year a 1-0 victory for each. And in playoff fashion, that deadlock will be broken tonight. Glad you're with us for the GNAC Women's Soccer Championships. Special thanks to Central Washington for playing host to the championship this weekend, and one of 3 championships to be hosted here in Ellensburg this year. The Wildcats will host the GNAC Basketball Championships in March of 2024, and then the GNAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships in early May of 2024. So some final thoughts being shared in the team huddles before they break it up and we get ready for action. Talked with Travis Cannell yesterday, and he said when they're the more active team on offense and defense, when they're covering more ground, that's when they're at their best. They want to be the aggressors on defense. They want to be ball hawking. That's H-A-W-K, not to be confused with ball hogging. Ball hawking, intercept passes, and force teams into turnovers high up the field. He said if that's what you're seeing, then good things are happening for the Vikings. For Casey Bingham, they need to be strong defensively top to bottom. You look at the center back in Hannah Rispler and what she means for the team, and that's really where things start. They pride themselves on trying to win the ball as high as possible, and they expect the back line to be the anchor. So both of these teams will look to possess the ball. Western Oregon, one of the themes that came up was not being afraid to take chances, not being afraid to have those outside backs go on long runs. And if Western Oregon's comfortable, that's what you're going to see on the flanks. Liz Parker and Jenna Ephraimson, they've got a lot of speed, and those are 2 very experienced players, a couple of seniors that will be trusted to make those runs on the flanks for Western Oregon if they are feeling good about where they're at in the game. So we'll see how this one plays out. It is chilly down on the pitch. Overcast skies, no moisture at the moment, but temperatures are well below 50 degrees down on the field. Not that the players are bothered by that at all. They got a lot of adrenaline pumping here ahead of this championship kickoff. But certainly a factor tonight. It is chilly. Final huddles. The starters are on the pitch. And we're just about ready for kickoff in this one. You'll see the top 2 goalies in the league in terms of goals against average. Henninger leading the conference at 0.50 goals allowed per game, and Pierce right behind her at 0.59. And you also see the last 2 GNAC Defensive Players of the Year, of course, the current Claire Henninger in white, and across the pitch from her, number 11 in black, is Hannah Rispler for Western Oregon. Vikings with the kickoff. We are ready to roll here at Tomlinson Stadium. And they're off. The 2023 GNAC Championships are underway. So we'll see how each of these teams start. Vikings taking the kickoff and looking to push forward early on. And the Wolves, key for them is to defend compactly, keep possession in the defensive third, and not give away too many early chances. Nice step in that time by Johnsrud to knock the ball out of play. Emily Rice taking the throw in for the Vikings, who are threatening right off the bat here, moving inside the goal box. There's Asia Harden trying to win the ball, but Instead, taking it away, Rayanne Jones. Now Manalili's got it. She's dangerous with her back to the goal. Trying to turn, and it's taken away. Nicely done by Ephraimson that time. So the Wolves withstanding the early push from the Vikings. Now Western Washington will reset, try and push forward, but instead it's a giveaway that time off the foot of Asia Hardin. Here's Liz Parker with the throw-in for Western Oregon. And quickly given away back to the Vikings, who will push their numbers forward. Referee moving the throw-in back. Claire Potter, wearing the number 10 jersey for the Vikings, pushed up the pitch, as is Mia Cairns calling for the ball. It falls to her on the right flank. That will carry out for a goal kick. You'll get your first look at Sophia Pierce in goal for Western Oregon, making her 16th start of the year. She ranks 6th in the conference with 2.60 saves per match, 4th in save percentage at 83.0, and as we mentioned, 2nd behind Henninger in goals against average at 0.59. So Pierce sends it towards the middle of the pitch where Manalili intercepts it. There's Rayanne Jones looking for space, and now it's out wide the other side of the field for Western Oregon. Cross deflected in the corner. The Vikings all of a sudden have some defending to do, but there's Henninger, an easy first touch for the senior goalkeeper for Western Washington. Such a huge part of last year's national championship team. So the Wolves gain possession on the back line. It's hardly been comfortable possession back there. As you can see, a quick giveaway right in the midfield. And Warda pushing the ball towards the attacking third. Jones was just a little bit too late that time. Now Grayson Crosby on the ball. Trying to work it forward. Cairns near midfield, and Rispler will play it back to her goalkeeper. Rispler, the center back for Western Oregon, not only a finalist for GNAC Defensive Player of the Year, but her head coach putting her up for the overall GNAC Player of the Year as well. In fact, both of the Defensive Player of the Year candidates for these two teams were also nominated for the top award, which ended up going to Seattle Pacific's Sophie Beadle, but it gives you an idea of what Casey Bingham thinks of the woman on the ball right now, Rispler, and Cannell's thoughts on his senior in goal, Henninger. Rispler winning another challenge and carrying the ball upfield is dispossessed over on the far side by Manalili. And the throw-in falls to Western Oregon. Trying to get it back to Henninger, but instead it's going to fall out for a goal kick. That was Rayanne Jones. She's dangerous in the attacking third. She got goal side of her defender that time, but couldn't quite keep possession and turn it back towards the 6-yard box. Played back towards Pierce. She'll have a moment to gather her options and then sort of just plays it towards the sideline. And the Wolves clear it up the field. Good work thus far by Olivia Connell, the Vikings center back. She's had a couple of questions to answer and has handled things on the back line. No chances yet for either of these sides as we're 5 minutes into this match. Casey Bingham saying her team always knows that they can beat anybody that they play, but they have to focus on themselves and not get wrapped up in that. They know they're good enough to beat any opponent they face. They've proven that in the form of the 1-0 win over Western Washington earlier this year, but on the other side of that, they can get beat against a good team too, and they know that. And I asked her what the difference was between those two matches, and in the win, they were nails defensively, she said. In the loss, it was one defensive mistake that led to Western Washington's goal. Pierce now calling her center backs up the pitch. She's going to play this one long. And the Wolves able to maintain possession, get it back to Pierce. She'll play it long towards the left side this time, but the Vikings again gaining possession. Starting to settle in here a little bit are these two teams. I always wonder about the early nerves as a push in the back that time. That call goes against Potter. You wonder in these championship matches, is a mistouch there? See, the Vikings can turn it into anything, but Rispler is all over it, allowing her team to recover and get their shape once again. See the value of Rispler there, a poor step by her teammate, and she's right there to pick up the slack, make sure that didn't materialize into an attack. It could have easily. So you wonder in these championship matches, maybe that opening whistle goes, and if it doesn't take 5-10 minutes for the nerves to wear off, but I think we're seeing in both of these teams settle into the moment. There's Mana Lily. Wolves looking to create a little bit, trying to switch the field here, and a lot of space on the right side. Real chance for Western Oregon towards the box, and the shot just comes off the right foot wrong for Gabby Warta. Tough angle for her, but certainly the best look either side has had to this point. First shot of the night, but never met it cleanly. And a little bit late that time was Parker. I think she knew it. Pushing Himura to the ground. So a free kick for the Vikings near midfield. Emily Rice to deliver this into the attacking third for Western Washington. Plays it on the floor to Manalili. He's trying to get the better of Parker, and it's out for a corner kick. A little bit fortuitous bounce there for the Vikings. Actually hit the corner cone and chose to go over the end line. First corner of the evening, and Manalili on the ball. Towards the crossbar. Pierce has to punch it away. Still loose. Back heel, and it's in. The Vikings strike first. I think it was Mia Cairns that, with her back to the goal, tapped it in with her heel. Chaos in the box, and the Vikings take advantage. It was Potter. I correct myself. Claire Potter got on the end of it And it's a great goal for Potter off the service. Wow. So Western strikes first, early. That's one of those on the training pitch that you sort of jokingly practice. A no-look back heel, but hey, in a crowded box, that's all you need is the right touch on it. So a pause on the field here. The clock didn't stop on the goal, so the referee is going to get that sorted out with the game management crew, but it's Claire Potter. I thought it was Cairns. It was hard to see in the box originally, but it was Claire Potter. That's her second goal of the season, knocking in the loose ball on the corner kick. So away we go. 15 minutes in, and the Vikings have the lead. Now, right away, a near giveaway by the Vikings and a shot by Jones towards the top of the box. Never going to trouble Henninger. So the start that the Vikings were looking for. And the Wolves now will have to chase this game a little bit. Now right back into the attacking third. Another shot. This one with Potter facing the goal. It's deflected and out for another corner kick. Here's the service. Another loose ball falling for a goal kick. It was a late signal by the referees. A lot of bodies in the box once again. But this time the Wolves dodged a bullet. So Pierce got her fist on that initial corner service from Monolily, but the Wolves couldn't get a second clearing touch on the ball. Stayed in the box. And really great piece of improvisation by Potter. That's just instinct as a forward. As she's shoved down here, it's going to be a dangerous free kick look for the Vikings. Johnsrud committing the foul. But in that moment, I don't really know how much Potter knows about it other than trying to get some part of her body on it. No time to turn and shoot or gather anything. You just got to kind of make it up, and she did so brilliantly. Manalili over the ball. And not her top service that time. But you got to credit her for sort of making it happen on the corner kick. It was a very threatening cross by Manalili that curled right towards the crossbar. Pierce had to deal with it. It was never comfortable and ends up in the back of the net. So nice job by the Wolves to shield that one out of play for a goal kick. Ephraimson on the far side as Western Oregon looking to string together a couple of passes. The possession has belonged to Western Washington early on in this one. Nearly 20 minutes gone here in semifinal number 1 of the GNAC Championships. Now Rispler pushing forward. Wolves trying to connect and get something going. Here comes Rayanne Jones. Numbers forward for Western Oregon. A chance here. Jones still on her foot. Left-footed shot and an easy save in the end for Henninger. Jones had Lily Nowatzki, who's running towards the ball now, to her left. And could have maybe laid it off, but instead figured she maybe had the better angle. But that's a save Henninger makes all day. Rispler being pressured there, and now a giveaway. And now into the attacking third for Western Washington. Rispler, though, recovers nicely and gets possession back. Ends in a goal kick for the Wolves. But Western Washington looking sharp. They're in the right spots. They're pressuring the Western Oregon back line, and then they're ready for these hurried clearances. Wolves trying to play a little bit more direct into the attacking third. There's Connell playing it outside to Asia Harden. And the Vikings wrestling away possession once again. Harden works outside. And the throw-in goes to Western Washington. Emily Rice able to win her matchup. And Mina Lilly heading to the bench here. Kind of holding at her face. May have gotten poked or have a little bit of blood, so the Vikings will send on a substitution. It's Minji Rauch coming in for the Vikings, who again have possession in a dangerous position. Right away, welcome to the game, Minji Rauch. Ball finds her foot, but again, Rispler able to recover. So Manalili didn't look to be serious. I think she either got poked in the face or might have had a bit of blood, but she should be able to rejoin the game without issue. Now on the far side, Western Oregon with some pace and stepping in. It's Jaden Nguyen that time. An important intervention down the flank. The Wolves with an attacking throw-in. It's quickly dealt with by the Vikings. And Rice, the first to it on the side, but it's knocked away. Wolves trying to push forward, and Warta just a little bit too quick with that pass. Well, Western Oregon also without its best offensive player. That's Chloe Smith, who's been battling with an injury, has played a little bit here and there, but lately unable to go for the Wolves, and they could really use her tonight as a second-team All-GNAC forward. And I think if she played more than 13 games, likely would have been a first-team pick, but 5 goals in those 13 games, and Smith leading the conference in goals per game. So that tells you what kind of weapon the Wolves are missing up top. I mean, they've got pieces. They've got Rayanne Jones and Gabby Warta, who's got a couple of goals on the season. But would be remiss not to say that the Wolves are below full strength on the attack without Chloe Smith, a fifth-year senior, one of the top offensive players in the conference. So definitely a challenge tonight on that front for Western Oregon. They'll have to find other ways to score. Harden and Rice getting a couple of touches back and forth. And Johnsrud will play it back to her goalkeeper. Dangerous clearance towards the midfield. There's Crosby who intercepts, and Wolves are fortunate that time that Crosby's pass ends up rolling out of play. Johnsrud again going to play long, seeking for either Warta or Rayanne Jones in the attacking third. Now across towards the 6-yard box, headed away. Here comes Henninger, and she somehow beats the attacker to the ball. And she really had to. If you're going to come off your line that far as a keeper, you got to get there first, but no doubt in Henninger's mind. So the biggest touch of the night thus far for the senior. It was preceded by the header from Olivia Connell, that curling cross towards the 6-yard box that she went up to deal with. So the Vikings continuing to create here in the attacking third. Another throw in deep in the Wolves' territory. This one inside the box. Left-footed strike and through the arms of Pierce, and it's in. A miscue by the Wolves, and the Vikings double their lead. Right place, right time. And it's Jane Humira. Mia Cairns played it in from the right side. Pierce diving, could not hold it. And Humira, nice job to tuck that one in. It's an open net, but it's a tricky angle. You got to make sure you don't push that one outside the near post, and she did the job. So 2-0 Western Washington. And right away, a free kick in the attacking third for the Wolves. So not the start Western Oregon was looking for. And now they'll have to really start putting something together offensively. Try and get back into this one. There's Manalili checking back into the match. Minji Rauch really just came in to handle the injury, but Manalili is just fine, as we assumed she would be. And Jane Humira picking the right time for her first collegiate goal. The freshman out of Portland's Sunset High School has been integral so far this season, starting 12 matches and playing in all 19 up to today. Hadn't found the net yet. But now she has, and she's got herself a GNAC Championships finish. There is the woman of the hour, Himura. Has it taken off her. And Western Oregon needing to clear it up the field, ends up in the hands of Pierce. Rispler looking for the attack up the left flank and too much on it that time. Well, Travis Cannell saying yesterday that set pieces are really healthy for us. He loves his team's ability to create and be dangerous on set pieces, and we saw that pay off on the first goal of the afternoon coming on the corner kick. And the second one not coming on a set piece, but just a really heads-up play by Himura to be at the right place. And that's a disciplined player, and for just a freshman to be there and be ready says a lot about why she's in this lineup tonight. Easy as a forward to see that cross going to the goalkeeper and sort of give up on it, but not Himura. She anticipated the bobble, and when it happened, was in perfect position for the finish. So an injury on the field for Western Oregon. So we'll take a quick pause here and be back after the stoppage in play. So we're ready to restart. Haley King now into the game for the Wolves. You've got the free kick. In towards the box. Here comes Henninger, and she's got it. It was Lulu Sadler, the first team midfielder for Western Oregon, who was shaken up on the play. We'll see if we can find out if she'll be able to return in this match. But for now, Haley King, the substitution in, and the Wolves have to just clear that one out for a corner kick. Claire Potter winning the battle on the attack for the Vikings, and a scary situation here for the Wolves. Last time they saw Amanda Lilly standing over a corner kick, the ball ended up in the back of the net. This time it's loose again. Can anyone get to it? Shot from the top of the box, deflected. And that one just missing the far post. Inches away from making it 3-0, Claire Potter. Thought for a moment she had enough finesse to curl that inside the far post, but sigh of relief for the Wolves as it carried just wide. But another chaotic corner kick in the box. Western Oregon unable to get a second touch and clear it out. Jones trying to turn it, but there's Grayson Crosby, the Georgia State transfer, who's been so impactful for these Vikings. Right place, right time again, covering that spot. A couple of first-teamers coming together there, Rispler and Manalili. The senior for the Wolves coming out on the better, keeping possession for her team. Now a long run up the flank towards the top of the box, but stepping in to clear it away was Wynn. Now the offside flag is up. Not going to matter. As a ball rolling out for a goal kick. Well, now Henninger will be allowed to take the free kick on the offside call. And it's near the edge of the penalty area. Referee says it's just outside the box. Oh, another foot, and that would be 12 yards out for the Vikings instead. It'll be a dangerous spot. Manalili on the ball. Rice is over there as well. Tough angle. But Manalili as good as they come. It'll be Rice with the left foot. Fizzes it just a little too high. She will hustle back to her left back position. But Rice getting a good look there with the left foot. Rauch coming back in. And giving Mia Cairns a break, who had the assist on the second goal for the Vikings. Nearly half an hour gone here at Tomlinson Stadium. And the Vikings looking good early on in this one. Wolves have yet to threaten in the attacking third. Vikings have built a 2-0 lead. It's Claire Potter in the 11th minute, and Jane Humura following in the 22nd. Manalili and Rauch working together to win a throw-in, which will be taken by Rice. There's Rispler again, stepping in front of Manalili. Fun matchup we're watching between those two. Well, Casey Bingham saying yesterday, when we were doing well, our outside backs are taking chances, they're getting forward, and when we're playing confidently, we're happy to release those outside backs and push them forward. And hard to do when you're facing the pressure that the Wolves have tonight. The Vikings have done a good job of just not allowing the space for that. It is something Western Oregon will have to look to do, is Rispler, a nifty header win, and then all the way into a challenge with Manalili. Vikings keep possession, and it's cleared out of play. Good strong challenge there from Rispler. Got the ball. She and Manalili arriving at the same time. And a couple of subs for each team here. So it is Chloe Smith for the Wolves. We mentioned they were without her in the starting lineup and how important she is on the offensive piece, and that's what the Wolves need right now. So injuries have limited Smith's minutes. We'll see if she can be an impact player tonight. Vikings, meanwhile, can't generate an attack from their possession on the outside. So Smith replaces Lily Nowatzki and Lulu Sadler. Glad to see her back in. She stayed down on the turf for a couple of minutes earlier, shaken up, but she's well enough to return. Here's Smith, fresh into the match, one-on-one. Deflected nicely, and there's the Viking senior Katie Watt, who's fresh into the game to clear it out. Watt, of course, instrumental on the Vikings championship team last year, and like Smith, Watt has dealt with injuries that have limited her this year. Micah Carr also in the match for the Vikings, replacing Emily Rice. And Hallie Noel in there as well. You see her for the Vikings near the ball on the near side. There's Rispler, another win, but unable to get it to her teammate Smith. Oh, Manalili with a soft touch. Trying to put the moves on in a good step that time. An important one by Sadler in the midfield. So you wonder about Smith, who's on the far side there. Wonder what percentage levels she's at. She's out there battling. Remember, a fifth-year senior, you got to leave it all out on the field, and that's something that Casey Bingham said about Smith. She just cares about the team, wears it on her shoulder. Means the world to her to be out there, and if it means playing injured, she's going to do it. Manager looked like stumbled a bit, but Peyton Neal able to get on the ball, and the Vikings able to recycle possession. Now over the top, streaking towards it, was Carr and Manalili. No whistle from the referee there. Could have been called for a free kick and a long-range shot dealt with by Pierce. Manalili went tumbling in what would have been another dangerous free kick area, but looked like the referee thought hard about it, ended up keeping the whistle in his pocket. 10 minutes to go here in the first half of our first GNAC Championship semifinal match. Vikings in front. Possession giveaway there. Neal trying to limit the damage and able to force a bad pass across the midfield. Parker plays the service towards Smith in the box. Header, and it's in! It's Chloe Smith! And just like that, the Wolves are back in it. And there you have it. The impact of Smith. She gets her team back into the game. just positioning on her defenders and nodding it over Henninger and under the crossbar. It's a goal scored by a seasoned veteran, and it comes when her team needed it most. And the Wolves have life with 9.5 minutes to go before halftime. At the top of the broadcast, we wondered if Smith would even be available tonight. Not in the starting lineup, which signals, I suppose, that the limits, or there would be a limit on her minutes. But coming off the bench and making an impact right away. So game on. How do the Vikings respond now after conceding? The service from Parker was outstanding. Now here's another giveaway by Western Washington, able to recover, though. Wolves had 3 players forward. Now coming the other way, towards the box. Western Washington with possession. Noel was thinking about an overlap run. Instead, it's sent towards the 18-yard box. Manalili playing combo. But the Vikings are dispossessed, and the Wolves able to clear their lines. Here comes Smith, putting the pressure on. Well, the service by Parker on the Chloe Smith goal, outstanding. Just put it in a spot that was a little too far for Henninger to go out for, and not only that, she had a couple of defenders in the area, but Smith just positioned perfectly. She stands close to 6 feet tall, does Chloe Smith. That helped too. So 3 goals in the first 35 minutes of this match. Hardly the defensive affair that maybe you would think with these two teams. Western Oregon rooting its team and its defense. Of course, Western Washington always plays that way, but ball finding the back of the net tonight. There's Grayson Crosby winning a throw-in, putting the pressure on. Allie Noel feeding it up the field, ends up on the foot of Manalili. Nice job by the Wolves to recover defensively, and Rispler will switch direction. Coming up on 5 minutes to play in the opening half. Another long through ball. Towards the center and cleared away. It was Asia Harden able to get in to what could have been a dangerous ball towards the middle of the box. Now room for the Wolves. Another cross. A header and pushed wide, but the threat not gone. No Wolves near the back post, but Western Oregon now starting to look dangerous. A little bit of newfound energy coming from the Chloe Smith goal. Rispler generating possession for her team once again. Taken away by Grayson Crosby. And Micah Carr able to stick the toe out near the touchline. Manalili looking for options. Nice dummy. Attack is on for the Vikings. And a crucial step by the Wolves back line. Johnsrud, the first to get to it. G. Roush was late to that one. And back in action we go. Dangerous pass there. Manalili was all over it. Now here comes Carr. Now you can see what a difference maker Manalili is. Just has a nose for the ball, puts immediate pressure on you, forces the giveaways. We've seen it multiple times tonight. Curls it towards the back post. But Pierce there. Well, if you're Western Oregon, you just want to get to halftime down by the one goal, maybe a chance to equalize, but Rispler sending a long ball that Henninger in the end has to deal with, but does so. And if you're the Vikings, maybe a little bit frustrated, certainly had the better run of play and possession in the first half, but just the one letdown, and it was really more just excellence by Parker. The cross was picture perfect, and then Smith, she's one of the best players in the conference, hard to guard, and her stature pays off for Western Oregon. Here's Carr. Has a cross blocked. Now Noel with the service. Wolves can't clear their lines, but it's given away in the end. 60 seconds to go before halftime. And letting one fly from distance there was Sophie Bearden-Croft, a late sub into the match. Very well could be the final chance of the half, although nearly a giveaway there. Wolves have to hurry if they're going to get something on frame. Rispler knows it, tries to play it up the pitch. "45 minutes in the books. Western Washington with a 2-1 lead. The Wolves pulling themselves up and getting back into this one late. We'll be back in a few minutes, give you a look at some first half highlights, and you won't want to miss the second half. A good one so far between the Vikings and Wolves. Halftime here at Tomlinson Stadium, 2-1, the Vikings lead it. Momentum, however, in the hands of Western Oregon, finding that late goal, and they really needed something. And remember, that goal by Chloe Smith came moments after Claire Potter narrowly missed, putting her team up 3-0. I mean, she touches a ball that misses the far post by not more than a foot or two. The Wolves come back. Chloe Smith, playing through injury, makes her presence felt in the box. The header goal. We've got a 2-1 game. The Vikings with 8 shots in the first half, Western Oregon with 5, and Western Washington able to put 4 of those on frame. The Wolves had 3. 3 corner kicks in the opening half, all of which went to Western Washington, and one of which the Vikings scored on. 4 fouls apiece, and each goalkeeper with a couple of saves. Henninger with 2 and Pierce with 2 as well. So the team's talking it over, looking for adjustments. Advantage still to Western Washington, but the Wolves now find themselves down not by 2, but just by 1, and that's a big difference. Feeling like the game is within reach and should be an exciting final 45 minutes. So the first collegiate goal by Jane Humira for Western Washington, that backed up Claire Potter's second goal of the season. The 2 goal scorers for the Vikings, and Mia Cairns with a couple of assists in the match. And for the Wolves, it was Liz Parker who played the brilliant service into the box for Chloe Smith to head home. Just about 6.5 minutes till second half kickoff. We'll take another break, and when we return, Vikings and Wolves back at it. So the Vikings take the field, and they've got the lead 2-1 over Western Oregon. See what kind of adjustments the Vikes made at halftime. Try and shore things up on the defensive end. And really overall, a well-played first half by the Vikings. Only one of the shots that Western Oregon took was threatening, and it was one off the head of Chloe Smith that ended up in the back of the net from 6 yards out. Other than that, possession held firmly by Western Washington and no real dangerous opportunities. But the only thing that matters is the final score line, and at the moment, the Wolves right back into it. So it'll be a Western Oregon kickoff to start the second half. And here we go. Wolves play direct, ends up in the hands of Henninger. A bomb of a punt from the Viking goalkeeper. And not much Henninger could do on the goal by Smith. It was perfectly placed just underneath the crossbar and over her head, out of reach. Here's Jaden Nguyen near side with the throw in for the Vikings. Try to push forward. Vikings maintaining possession in the defensive third, and got to be patient in matches like this if you're Western Washington, something they're so good at. But you've got the lead, and you give up what was somewhat of a shocking goal, not in terms of any miscue, but it just sort of materialized out of nowhere. They were totally dominant in the run of play. And then all of a sudden, the Wolves find the back of the net. But you just got to patiently shake it off and continue generating opportunities like this. Deflected out of play for a Viking throw-in. The wind gets it back, then sends it towards the 6-yard box. It's handled by Liz Parker. Now cleared all the way up the field by Western Oregon. Connell, the center back, plays it over to Asia Harden. There's Micah Carr, who came into the match as a sub in the first half. Now a shot at the foot of Cairns and carrying out a play. Cairns credited with assists on each of the Vikings' goals. And getting into the mix offensively, that's why Travis Cannell nominated her for GNAC Freshman of the Year. Her first 2 assists of the season. For Cairns, she's also scored 3 goals of her own. in her debut campaign. Kind of a fun storyline. The daughter of Seattle Pacific Hall of Fame player Scott Cairns is a member of 3 national championship teams with the Falcons, and I asked Travis Cannell about that, if they knew each other. Travis, of course, playing at Seattle Pacific as well, but he told me they didn't play together and didn't really know each other until Cannell started recruiting Scott Cairns' daughter, Mia, who's been so impactful tonight. And I'm sure then they drummed up the memories of those great Falcon men's teams, late 80s and early 90s. But the lineage continues in the Cairns family of churning out successful soccer players. Vikings looking to keep the pressure on here in the attacking third. They've come out of halftime with energy. More service from Nguyen. And there's Hannah Rispler. And the Wolves break. Long shot, no problem for Henninger. Right to her. That's Lauren Rose, who's fresh into the game for Western Oregon, providing a little bit of pace up top and got her left foot on that one, but Henninger was right there at the near post to handle it. Nguyen and Crosby combining, then working it back around to Harden going the other way. The Vikings possess and move the ball as well as anyone in the conference. Now here's Carr. Trying to combine in the middle. Carr was looking for Himura's foot. Fair challenge that time. And Peyton Neal intercepts in the midfield for the Vikings. So Manalili getting a few minutes of rest here to start the second half. And offside there is Carr before the contact. Looking to sneak in behind the Wolves' back line, but just had her nose a little bit too far forward. Vikings right back at it. They win possession and push forward once again. Carr with the pace into the box. And the last line of defense gets that one cleared away. Jenna Ephraimson, the senior, was there for Western Oregon. Towards the back post. Over everybody's head. Service coming from Hallie Noel. And Haley King coming on for the Wolves here early in half number 2. Given away in the midfield. Carr, the crafty player up top, turning, looking for options now. Wolves trying to generate some forward momentum. Rose had the runner forward, but instead she turned back. Now Noel's going to have a decision to make and tries to play it out of touch. Instead, the Wolves send it towards the back post. Nobody's there. Noel, I think, would have wanted that ball to clear out of play. Didn't quite get enough on it. But Western Oregon unable to turn it into a threat. Trying to control it up top is Rose, and does so. Western Oregon trying to keep possession here. A good step from Connell, the Vikings center back. Risper pushing forward. And the Vikings, once again, able to calmly collect it. Nearly given away. Hardin, an important one-on-one win there, played into a little bit of trouble. Now Rispler streaking forward. Plays it out wide to Ephraimson. Ephraimson tripped up, and that'll be free kick to the Wolves in a precarious position. Vikings will have to do some defending here. Well, it's a corner kick. First of the match for Western Oregon now. Wolves bunched up towards the top of the box. Now they make their runs. Back post. Headed down and in. No, off the side netting. Saw the goal move and thought the Wolves had found the back of the net. It's another corner, though. Thought for a moment Western Oregon had pulled itself even. Another high arcing cross. Headed towards the 6. And the Vikings able to clear it away. Now the referee's saying it was over the end line before it came back into play. That header strike at the far post, I think, hit off a Viking defender who was on the post and cleared out of play. So the Wolves now looking dangerous on a couple of corner kicks. Knocking on the door of an equalizer. Couple of shoves on each side there. Ephraimson and Nguyen going at it. Throw-in goes to Western Oregon. And the Wolves calmly dealing with it. Johnsrud will play it back to Pierce. mistouch there. Falls to the foot of Carr. So Western Washington coming out of the halftime break and creating some early momentum offensively towards the box. Looking to get back to it here after a couple of Western Oregon corner kicks. The first one very threatening. Second one ended up carrying out of bounds, but another good look towards goal for the Wolves. They haven't had many tonight, but the few they've had have been dangerous. Western Oregon trying to find an equalizer here. We're 60 minutes in. And here comes the hero so far. Chloe Smith back up top. The goal scorer for Western Oregon. Incredible story really for Chloe Smith. That was her 12th collegiate goal in a career that began in 2019 at Concordia University in Portland. It was her true freshman season. The school closed after that year. Smith finding a home in her home state. She's a Portland native and able to latch onto this Western Oregon team. She's been a dominant player in this conference since. 5 goals in each of the last, I should say this season and last season each. And tonight scoring her 6th of her senior and final year. Now Potter. Connell searching forward and Nguyen down the flank. Or check that, it was Himura she was looking for down the flank. Nguyen will take the throw-in. Can the Vikings create off this deep throw-in? Tackle ends up in favor of Western Oregon. Sophie Bearden-Croft coming back on for Western Washington. She'll replace Potter. And you wonder how much longer till we see Morgan Manalili. And it looks actually like she's headed to the check-in table now. 17 minutes into this second half. Wolves looking to push forward into the deep corner. And it goes under the foot of Smith. Oh. Henninger urging her defense forward. That could have been a big problem for the Vikings if Smith was able to corral it. But another nervy moment for Western Washington in the box. So here is Manalili. Great minutes from Micah Carr. Just energy and outstanding technique in the attacking third. She gives way to the first team all GNAC forward who makes it happen for the Vikings. And Cannell said maybe the most impressive thing about Manalili is the Vikings play this one forward. Could be a chance. But stepping to it Rispler and clearing it in her touch. Cannell saying the most impressive thing about Manalili is that no matter who they play, they know that the offense is going to go through her. The team's game plan for her, it forces Manalili to be different in each match. She needs to find different ways to be effective, and he said she does that night in and night out. That's what makes her so good, is she's able to beat the scouting report, beat the game plan, find a way to be effective even when the other team knows that she's the deepest threat the Vikings have. So Manalili back on the pitch, the Vikings number 4, and Rayanne Jones, the Wolves number 4, now back in. Jones, an explosive player in her own right. A first-year senior with the Wolves, a couple of years at Grand Canyon, and a couple of years at Rio Hondo. Now Rayanne Jones finishing her career with Western Oregon. She's a threat to score. So they've got some firepower up front, do the Wolves. They've got Chloe Smith, their leading offensive player. They've got Rayanne Jones in there. Here's Ephraimson on the wing, pressured by Nguyen. Pierce had to hurry. And results in a Wolves throw-in. Good work by Jones on the far side to get a touch on it. Now Manalili, first touch of the second half. Trying to play her into the corner. Johnsrud winning the throw-in for the Wolves. A little bit of space now at the top of the box. Fizzing in a shot. It's knocked down by Rispler. Cleared out of play. And if you're Western Oregon, that's a little bit too much space inside the box to leave these Vikings attackers with. First time service is dealt with again by Rispler. Harden looking to move forward with it, and the Vikings win another throw-in. Third time these teams have met in the semifinal round of the GNAC championships, but first time in a decade. None of these players were around last time. It was 2013, the last time these two played in the playoffs against each other. The score that night, 2-1, Western Washington in overtime. That's how it sits right now. The Vikings trying to make this lead hold up and trying to search for a bolster. The Wolves trying to keep the magic going and find an equalizer. Here's Smith. Ephraimson, one-on-one. And win. Outstanding. Wynn's one of the best in the business defensively, and just calm defending there by number 8 for the Vikings. You've seen just a little bit more and more of Jenna Ephraimson on that left side here in the second half. Remember, that's the game plan for the Wolves. Get those outside backs running on the flanks. Try and build them some possession moving forward. And if they are to equalize here in the final 22 minutes, that figures to be one of their best chances to get those wingbacks involved. Now the Vikings pushing forward. Smith was dispossessed by Peyton Neal, the savvy senior. But it ends right back on the foot of Smith. Vikings have done well to keep their shape defensively, even when the Wolves are gaining possession near the middle of the pitch. Connell and Harden, you can see Harden there gesturing, staying compact. They're doing the work in the middle, and you saw a moment ago Jaden Nguyen being called on to win her one-on-one battle. They've passed all the tests tonight to have the Vikings save for Chloe Smith's header from 6 yards out. The only thing keeping the Wolves in it. Now a shove by Rispler. Rispler too much in the way of arms that time and pushed Bearden-Croft to the ground. So a set piece for the Vikings right at midfield. Connell to take it. Look at the strength from Neal, feeling the pressure and using her body to keep the ball. And this is the patience we've talked about with Western Washington. You saw the free kick near midfield there, just a simple square ball, not trying to do too much, don't need to force it in the box. Now, from 20 yards closer, would expect to see some service on this one. It's Emily Rice. Last time she stood over a set piece, pushed it a little bit high and wide from 22 yards or so with that left foot. That was in the first half. Now she'll look for the head of an attacker. There's Pierce. Smith flicks it on for Jones, but Asia Harden reading it all the way. Rispler going over the top. Henninger able to get there. Well, you wonder how much the Vikings knew about Chloe Smith coming in. It's never about one player, but you have to be aware of the other team's best players. And if you look at her game log from October 7th to November 2nd, she played exactly 1 minute. It looks like she tried to go in the Montana State Billings match and couldn't on October 21st. So she missed essentially an entire month. Then she tries to come back, able to play 35 minutes a week ago on this field against Central Washington, and then managed 17 minutes against Northwest Nazarene in the season finale Saturday. So I think if you're Cannell and the Viking coaching staff, you probably figure you're just not sure if she can play. She may play a little bit, and then she doesn't start, and all of a sudden, sure enough, off the bench, Chloe Smith comes in and heads home the Wolves' goal. Vikings win a throw-in, and Jaden Nguyen will get a breather in. Hallie Noel into the match for Western Washington. Wynn going to get some high fives on the bench. She's played an excellent outside back tonight. Well, if you're Western Oregon, urgency has to tick up a notch here. 16.5 minutes left. They've got to find an equalizer. Otherwise, this 2023 season comes to a close for Casey Bingham's group. Fans traveled well, making some noise here at Tomlinson Stadium. It's about a 5-hour drive from Monmouth, Oregon, up to Ellensburg. But these matches don't happen all the time. First GNAC Championships appearance for Western Oregon since 2019, and they're in it. Rispler striding forward as she's done so many times tonight. Now Lily Nowatzki on the outside. And that one sussed out by the Vikings. Here comes Manalili to the center. Give and go. Morgan Manalili can't be dispossessed. Now in the box. And a tough stop from Rispler. So good at shutting down the attack. Wolves going the other way. It's 1-on-1 with Noel. Ephraimson has stood up. What a tackle, Hallie Noel. Fresh off the bench into the match just for a minute. And taking a page out of Jaden Wynn's book. Had to have that tackle, did the Vikings, and Hallie Noel comes through. Just a little push. Oh, he's going to give the one previously on Jane Humira, who was nudged over. So another free kick for Western Washington. They'll be happy to take their time with it. Remember, our second semifinal match comes up at 7 p.m. Fourth-seeded Simon Fraser taking on the regular season champs Seattle Pacific. Western Washington looking to advance to the GNAC Championships final for the 11th year in a row. They've never missed a final. It's an incredible record of success on Travis Cannell's line. The 11th GNAC Championship tournament starting here tonight. They've made the finals in all 10 up to this point. 13 minutes away from making it 11 in a row. But work to do against a feisty Western Oregon side that's looking for an equalizer. Ephraimson. Nowatzki back to the middle. King works it around to Johnsrud. Wolves searching for a way forward, but unable to find one. Coming together, but all ball between Connell and Smith. Anna Lily, so good at finding the tight spaces. I'm going to run a little bit long. Appears to restart. Wolves need to find something here. if Western Oregon were to equalize, overtime is on the table here as we play in the postseason. No more draws, at least not in regulation. Trying to chase it down is Jones. Across the middle. Oh, and Connell whiffed on it. Now Jones from the top of the box. Henninger eats it up. Just a moment there, you thought when it got through Connell that a Wolf might be on the other end of it. But Henninger comes away with her fourth save of the evening. Anna Rispler, 10 minutes left in what's been a stellar collegiate career, unless her team can find one more. Connell shielding Smith, who gets a touch on it. Was trying to see that ball over the line, but Chloe Smith able to just poke it free. The Wolves are finding lines, creating some chances here late as the clock ticks under 10 minutes to go. Booming punt from Henninger. Three first half goals in this one, nothing so far in the second half. And both teams tightening things up defensively at the halftime break. Vikings looking calm and in control. That's how you have to be in these championship matches. Into the box now. Turning is Potter and deflected out of play. It'll be a Western Washington corner kick. Travis Cannell had some thoughts on that as well, the championship mindset, and in particular the balance between the players who were on last year's national championship team and keeping that compartmentalized from this year's squad. It's a new team, a new identity. It's Potter's service here. Knocked away and then cleared by the Wolves. Potter looking to send it right back in. Now a chance, but offside is the call. I asked Travis Cannell how he handles that aspect from a coaching standpoint, how you sort of let that be such an important part of these people's lives. You know, the ultimate goal is a player to win a national title. So how do you juggle that with not making this year's team about last year's results? And he said he really takes a hands-off approach. The coaching staff doesn't talk about it a ton. He lets the players and the leaders dictate that. The ones who were there and won the title, he lets them tell the newcomers about it. And that's why the culture is so successfully built. It's not forced upon them like an expectation. It's more sought out like a dream. So the reigning national champs as rain begins to fall here at Tomlinson Stadium. Less than 7 minutes away from an 11th straight GNAC Championships final. There was no rainfall last night during the practices. 3 of the 4 teams arrived yesterday and had their practice slots in what was chilly conditions, but no moisture last night. So this is the first here on championship weekend we've had that come into play. Wolves have to hurry now. Do they have one more moment in them? More patient play from Western Washington. They know they're close. They can sense it now. One more substitution for Western Washington and trying to keep possession in the corner. The Wolves able to take it away. They've got to hurry here. Got to find a way to start pushing some numbers forward. Staring the 2-1 deficit in the face. If this result holds, Western Washington will be through to the final on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And then they'll wait anxiously, watch Seattle Pacific and Simon Fraser play in just over an hour. More good work in the corner. Just trying to slow everything down of the Vikings. Wolves finally able to get the ball cleared out. But again, the shape of the Viking back line is perfect. Wolves trying to maintain possession moving forward. Contact. No whistle, but a throw-in for Western Oregon. They've got to get all bodies up towards the box sooner rather than later. Pierce wants to play a long ball here. Vikings get the first and second touch on it. And play it once again towards the corner. Nowatsi going to run it down and take the throw in. Now a chance for the Vikings inside the box. And a diving save from Pierce. Manalili, the follow-up, another. Is Pierce. A couple of key stops to prevent the Vikings from sealing this one shut. It was Potter and then Manalili who had visions of a third goal for Western Washington. Vikings 90 seconds away. Another throw-in for Western Washington here. Masterful job of just bringing the pace to a grinding halt, keeping the ball trapped in the corner. Potter in the corner, keeps control, keeps it in. And it's finally goes out. Western Oregon, one last-ditch effort. But it just isn't coming for the Wolves. And Manalili again out for a goal kick. "20 seconds now. And a final touch towards the corner by Himura. That should do it. And Western Washington is going to advance to the GNAC Championships finals for the 11th year in a row. The Vikings keep on rolling. 2-1 the final. 2 early goals for Western Washington. The Wolves get one back before halftime, but cannot equalize. And semifinal number 1 goes to Western Washington. Thanks so much for being with us. We're going to step aside in this broadcast, and at 7 p.m., you can catch Seattle Pacific and Simon Fraser right here on GNAC.tv. Visit GNACsports.com for a recap of tonight's game and all of your Great Northwest Athletic Conference news. Thanks again, and we'll see you at 7 for semifinal number 2.